Points to 4 as we see the Australian team coming back out on the ground. It's called the Boulevard. It is in Hull. And again, the Russian players also on their way out there. Just about ready to go to our commentators. Australia coming back. Very cold conditions out there. I think Australia will be delighted to get off this paddock. They know they have this game comfortably wrapped up, undefeated in their group. 3 wins in Group 1 this will mean. And that's just the way they want to start their defence of this title. I agree with what you're saying, Brett Kenny, and the fact that they're not going overboard here. This is a program. This is something they're working towards, as that is an appearance in the grand final. Let's now get back to the Boulevard at Hull. The commentators are Andrew Voss and Tony Ray. This is the second 40 minutes with Australia leading 50 points to 4 over Russia. 2 points.
Andrew Johns, who gets us back underway. The Australians running towards the scoreboard end of the Boulevard. And he's a big boy, the number 15, Michael Georges. He took the first run back. And now Gavrillin.
2. Away, fellas.
Halfback who, this is one of his highlights, scoring 3 tries against the Americans in the Emerging World Cup back in '95. I think he's better than that company. Tourmaline, his second rower, who's really had a go. Kamali came off second best in trying to tackle the front rower head on. Although I may amend that because he's gone back again, Kulamine, the second rower. It's a ferocious charge, plenty of venom in it. Brett Kamali wasn't all that flash after he tried to take him head on. But this bloke has really had a go for Russia. Kirill Kulamine.
Did shake him up, Kamali. He's a tough customer. Just stood there, sorted himself out. Didn't go to the ground. The trainer came over to him. He's taken on this guy, Kulamine, a big, powerful guy who was charging a lot of pace. Kamali just having a word at the back of the scrum with Scott Hill. There's not too much trouble there. It appears just to be a blood bin. Let's have a look at that one again. You can see there, bang, the head clash. Days Kamali would hurt this guy Kulamine a little bit more, and he's gone from the field. Australia back with the ball.
Wendell Sailor scored a couple of tries in that first half, but really seen a lot of open spaces. Hasn't been able to break his way free. Good run here from Vela. 25 metres away from the Russian line. It's getting a little chilly now. It was cold to start with, and cooler for this second half. Gidley, McDougall, 20 minutes from the line. McDougall now. Pass was knocked down and then taken on the toe by Barrett. It will be a Russian scrum feed.
Well, it just wasn't on there from Adam McDougall. Would have been better to take the tackle. You mentioned earlier in the call the discipline Chris Anderson was after, and that's not what he wanted to see. He'd prefer to see McDougall take the tackle. You know, as you would in a final, you'd rather McDougall take the tackle and look for an opportunity after that. Go back to the fact that Chris Anderson doesn't want to breed bad habits. As the Australians just rest the tough.
Nice ball in the tackle, but it is play on. I'll tell you one thing that is impressing me. I know they're behind by 50 points to 4, but look at this set of 6. The speed of the play. Campbell almost up to the 30-metre line.
Again, take a compliment to the Australians. You know, there's 2 and 3 defenders in there, so they haven't slackened off, which has been a good arm wrestle, and the Russians have played their part in that.
This tackle, only back to the 30-metre line. Last hit up by Ardachine, and that kick out on the full, so the good work comes undone. Wonderful field position here for the Australians, 32 metres out from the line. Vela is wound up again.
Okay, tackle 1. Up, up.
Parramatta front rower. Webke trying to slip the pass around the corner. Unsuccessful. And a knock on against the Australians. The Russians will have the scrum feed.
Yeah, that's just exactly what we were talking about the play before from McDougall. You don't want to see those sorts of passes. That's what Shane Webke's not about. He's better at just powering forward when he comes out the other side, then play the ball. It's an opportunity for Gordon Tallis next time they get the ball, show his hand as a leader.
Well, away go the Russians down the right side. Kamuchanov.
We'd like to see Tallis grab a hold of the ball and charge forward. Just send that message out to his teammates. Let's get the discipline back. Let's lay a platform. Let's not take this too easy.
And 3. Marcus square.
40-metre line. Shinustinov thought he was going to have the 80-metre run on that previous play. Not a good pass there from Gavrilin. Well handled by Georges. Tough ball to take.
4. Yeah, yeah.
More slipped across the ground than bounced. The big number 15 did well. There's Campbell's kicking game on show again. Play on for the Russians. Lysenkov, the hooker. Well, they put a bit of pressure on the Australians now. 30 metres away from the line. And standing deep to the right. Comes across, Ilyasov. Try scorer from their first match against Fiji. Mitrofanov is in the line and able to keep it alive. Back for Ilyasov. And he continues to run. Intercept for Wendell Sailor. You can see it coming. The hands go to the heads on the Russian players. And Wendell Sailor runs 70 metres to score when the Russians were looking as dangerous as they have all match. Wendell Sailor gets a try, and again there's some boos from the crowd on the back of that Aussie try.
Well, I hope this doesn't dampen the spirits of the Russians, and it appears in the back play that it has. They're trudging back, very disappointed with themselves because they were on a roll and they were playing some great football there. Ilyasov went wide, threw a pass. There was numbers out there for the Russians, but Wendell Sailor just read that to perfection. There's a hat-trick for Wendell. Goes away. Scores that no matter what the opposition. You always enjoy scoring a hat-trick, and no one enjoys it more than Wendell. Interesting bit of play from Robert Campbell. Wearing the 10 for the Russian. He has a very clever kicking game. Nice little chip in that set of 6. Creativity. The Russians really come alive. A couple of offloads. They're obviously very disappointed with the end of it. The intercept going Sailor's way.
Girdler. The crowd I've observed doing some Cossack dancing to try and get the Russians fired up. Girdler successful with that kick. 56 it is now for the Australians. Ryan Girdler another 2. We made the point in the first half, but they do look more, and I guess the word in vogue is focus. They do look more focused, the Australians tonight, compared to the match against the Fijians.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and I think it's great credit to Chris Anderson that they are, because they did beat the Fijians and beat them comfortably. Guys like Wendell are there to take every opportunity. If he's hanging back and not concentrating, he doesn't race away and score tries like this. And Chris has obviously worked very hard with the team over the last couple of days just to make sure the attitude is right. And for the first time, I think that they're matching the sort of discipline shown by the New Zealand side, and that is a real plus for this Australian side. Apart from, of course, those couple of forced passes, Wendell Sailor scoring a try, now getting real interested in this game. And the ball seems to be getting into his hands. That's a dangerous sign for the Russians.
Webke.
Right, that's 3.
35 metres away from the Russian line.
We had a chat about Webke, and we did agree that it is a style of play that does come up within Australia, and his form is very good still.
He's not offside. He's not offside.
And the crowd not happy with the ruling of Stuart Cummings, as Hill sends them away for Johns and Girdler. Girdler able to spin out of the tackle of Hutachin, who came across, but still he had teammates coming across to cover up. Last tackle, Kamali kicks across for the wing. Sailor is coming through. Sailor got the jump on it. It's bounced off his chest, but he was certainly there first, Big Wendell, and a 4th try was looming.
Oh, it wasn't looming. He just looked so dangerous, Wendell. Knew exactly what was going on there. Let's see why he doesn't take it. Donovan did put him under pressure, so good play from Donovan, stood his ground. The ball hit the chest hard of Wendell. He was staring 4 tries.
To be honest, there was a suggestion of mid-air tackle. Donovan, I think, conceded that he wasn't going to get the height on the jump that Wendell Sailor had. So then tried his best to provide a bit of interference. All the Australians have rushed up out of the line. Wendell Sailor, 104 kilos at home in the forward pack if you wanted. 6'3". Great athlete. As the Russians attack. Lysenkov, the hooker, busy again.
The last couple of times that they've got to the 5th tackle, they haven't got a kick away. This time they do, and it's that man. Big Robert Campbell looking for a 40-20. You won't get that. Front row with that kicking game, short game and long. As Boyov said, one of the features of his game is kicking drop goals late in the game. Something strange for a front rower.
Well, that's what the biography said anyway. He said but he has a habit of kicking last-minute field goals. I just don't think it'll be required tonight, personally, but there you go. 56-4 and a penalty to the Australians.
Well, the only way it would have been relevant tonight would have been if the score was 0 and they wanted to get some points on. But thanks to that fantastic try from Donovan, I don't think we'll see Robert Campbell kicking a field goal this evening.
And now I think of it, perhaps we will. They did kick 2 goals against the English, and they conceded over 70 points. So perhaps for something different, if they get close enough in the closing stages, they may go a field goal. But right now, it's the Kangaroos on the attack. Johns, Tallis hasn't been as destructive as we expected tonight. He goes in for a try here. Again, not met with a great reception. The Australians reach 60. Their captain, Gordon Tallis, a try.
He'll be pleased with that. Great work from Andrew. Just ducks out from dummy half. There was a player on the ground. Gordon was moving, of course, before he received the ball. Put himself in space, Gordon Tallis here. Just a jink before he went there. Lovely little dummy. Catches the sliding defence out. The captain tonight, happy to score a try. Full credit to working off the shoulder of Andrew Johns. It's an awkward game for Gordon Tallis. You're playing against these Russians who just don't defend typical to what he's used to. And all forwards have just been content to power forward.
Good. In front, Ryan Girdler plays up yet again. Mounts the tally for Ryan Girdler. Gordon Tallis spoke to him on Wednesday night around the Fiji game. He admitted that he did cop a knock on the knee in the match at Twickenham and probably would have been struggling to play against Fiji. He conceded he had a preference that he would have liked to have played against the Fijians. And if he had to sit out a game, it would have been tonight.
Well, looking at the way he scored the try, he did have a jink when he went to the defensive line, so the knee can't have been too much of a query for him this evening.
It's interesting, that head-on shot, the first half, the same shot, all the fans up in the terraces in view. They've now moved to the end where the Australians are scoring, as is the habit of the English fans.
And in fact, the ground announcer before the game announced who'd won the toss and which way the teams were running, so that obviously they knew the Australians would be scoring most of the points, and that's quite clever to get that advantage point.
Well, there's barely a soul apart from the security men now at the Russian end of the field, and at the scoreboard end, in anticipation of many Australian tries. They've taken up their positions, and the Aussies on halfway. The Russians have persisted with these short kickoffs. And now Gidley, wonderful hands from Matthew Gidley. Kamali, then Hill, they're lined up on the left. Girdler, now for Croker. Croker for the corner for the Australians, gets there. Probably their best try of the night. Jason Croker scores it. And some wonderful hands from the Kangaroos in there. In particular, when you see the replay, take note of Matthew Gidley. Jason Croker, his first test try here at the Boulevard in Hull. And great rugby league from the green and gold.
Well, he got it right that time. Shane Webke with a great offload. Gidley in space. Let's just enjoy the work of Croker, playing on the wing for the first time. 2 to beat, kept his balance, showed his strength. He very much enjoyed scoring what was a fantastic team try. Plenty of players there supporting. Plenty of good timing. Running into holes, shuffling the ball out wide. No selfishness from the Australians. Good to see the winger scoring. Good to see that man Croker showing his versatility. Rewarding Chris Anderson for the faith in putting him out there, slotting him onto the wing. Obviously in preparation for that versatile role he plays in the bigger games later in the competition.
Girdler keeping count of this tally. 9 goals and 2 tries. 26 points already. 34 points the record from Matt Rogers against Fiji. And listen to the whistles of the crowd again. They will cheer loud if Girdler misses. Girdler. He'll spoil the party though. Ryan Girdler gets another 2. And to be fair, there is some cheering there as well. So Girdler now has 10 goals for the night. And that man on screen, Jason Croker, so versatile, a Canberra Raider. And many say he should have been here way back in '94 as part of the Kangaroo Tour. Overlooked for selection on that occasion, surprisingly, after his side had won the premiership. He's had to wait a long time to break into Test football. And a big smile on the face as he went across the line. Great hands from Gidley because he had lost control of it. And he was able to rake it in even though he was under pressure from defenders. So a good rugby league try against any company. Petrofano back underway. They're past 60. They're well on the way to 70. And the century is there for the taking as Vella almost back to the 30-metre line. Number 16, Kuchermov got up, looking around, wondered what he was doing. Tallis is away down the left. The floodgates have opened here at the Boulevard. Tallis taking on the fullback. Croker's there. Now Croker. Quick try double to Jason Croker. The raging bull was away, Gordon Tallis. And in some respects, he had too much support. Big Gordon couldn't make up his mind who to pass to. Croker his second try. And they've topped the 70.
Wasn't this a great pass? Fantastic work from Hill. Again, he sucks in 2 and 3 defenders, and Tallis is away. Good work from the fullback. He backed off. Made Big Gordon think about it a bit. Oh, smiling before he gets there. Jason Croker. This is all right playing on the wing, particularly when you're in so much space and running off so much talent.
We'll give a rap here to Mikhail Mitrofanov, the fullback. You know, he stayed with him and made it difficult.
Well, he did all he could to stop it, didn't he? That's fantastic effort from him. Imposing side, maybe backed off when he saw who it was, but that's a great ball. Great ball, Scott Hill. Great running from Big Gordon Tallis. Really warming into the game now. Positional play from Croker was superb. Enormous signs of the Australians enjoying what they're about. They're also keeping their discipline and playing particularly strong brand of rugby league.
Girdler for 30 points tonight. And I hate to say it, but I think the Russian challenge has come to an end. There's some tired-looking faces in the in-goal area. Girdler. He lands another one. He's now taken it up to 30 points. And we start to go to those records again that we had to do on Wednesday night against Fiji as we watch Gordon Tallis in full flight again.
Again, the fullback there. It's turned inside out. Chases hard. Did all he could there, Mitrofanov, to stop it. It wasn't enough when you're playing with the sort of support play that Jason Croker provides.
Previous to last Wednesday night, Andrew Johns had held the record 74-4 now, but Andrew Johns had that 32 points against Fiji back in '96. And then Matt Rogers 34 on Wednesday night. And Girdler, I think he's going to pass that mark. So Kennedy now on for the Australians. First run for the night. And the last 2 tries, good stuff from the Kangaroos. And Hindmarsh. Parramatta Tyro.
Really trying to kick the Russians when they're down. Very much attacking this left-hand side of the field. Looking for an opportunity because this is where the last 2 tries have come.
Kennedy keeps it alive again. McDougall's away this time. Ben Rubin was hoping to find someone inside. McDougall came out the back end of that tackle like he was shot out of a gun. And they keep it alive. Tallis knocked back. Croker trying to get in position. He's sniffing there for another try, Jason Croker. That'd be a good hat-trick, 3 in succession. Kamali, 25 metres away. Kangaroos attack. Barrett holds the ball up. Around the back they go. Gidley's got Saylor on his outside. He sends Saylor on the chase. And at last, the Russians get their hand on the ball. Donovan, but it will be a line dropout. They haven't had much possession of late, the Russians.
Yeah, it's clever play from Gidley, well weighted. Great response from Wendell Saylor. Donovan had no option. He might have got his hands on the ball, but only to throw it to his kicker who'll give it straight back to the Australians. Will they attack this left-hand side again?
Donovan, the man who scored the Russian try in the first half. In fact, this bottom corner, I think, will be known as Donovan's corner from now on, marking the historic occasion. Hindmarsh, 40 metres away from the line. Gower there for the Australians in a dummy half. Now with Vella. Up and inside the 30. Vella trying to get those hands free, but locked up over the top by Campbell. He was the 3rd man in the tackle, but prevented the offload. Hill. Tallis ran a decoy. Gidley, or rather Girdler, is with it. Croker in support copped a bit of interference. Now Hill, 10 away from the line. The Russians are beaten here. Tallis, he stands, keeps it alive. The Australians will score again. It's a procession now. Hindmarsh plunges over. They are tied, they are beaten, and they are not getting the ball all that often, the Russians now. They're really struggling in defence. Nathan Hindmarsh should try. And I think it's just a matter of course that the Australians will reach the 100.
It's just such a pity for the Russians having so much trouble adjusting. They make some great tackles. I thought it was a fantastic tackle on Girdler out to the left. They just simply kept the ball around. They run out of numbers, the Russians. They had some defenders there. Physically, they weren't strong enough. The bench players coming on and being called upon to keep with the outstanding form that was shown in the opening exchanges. Look at a big, powerful guy like this man, Hindmarsh. Against Lysenkov, the hooker, has worked very busily. Geez, the power of Hindmarsh tell. Gerber gets 2 more. The tally is ticking over.
Yeah, well, other records we've got to keep in mind on, Tony, of course, is the highest score by Australia in Test matches and World Cup matches, and we go back to the last World Cup for that, when they defeated South Africa up at Gateshead by 86 points to 6. More recently, they got that 82-0 scoreline against Papua New Guinea in Townsville. And then that match in 96 where Andrew Johns amassed 32 points, the 84-14 win. So a lot of records about to go by the by here tonight. 80 points to 4. Girdler struggling to keep up. He's got it to 32 now. And slow on the restart. Will the Russians try a short one or not? They've been desperate to find the line. This one is drilled low and deep. And the pressure will be on Wendell Sailor. The fans are singing here at 80 points to 4 as Kennedy runs back.
Interesting to see the introduction of Craig Gower and what impact that will have on the game. I came to the game expecting big efforts from Andrew Johns and Brett Camorley in particular. I thought Johns would carve them up from dummy half and Camorley would be scooting, and you know, I said he'd be in for 4 tries above all the other Australians. But you must really compliment those 2 playmakers. It must have been a superb team performance from Australia. They've just simply been content to feed the outside backs where the space was rather than be selfish as Gidley breaks through. Another opportunity.
30 metres away from the goal line, and Gidley decides to kick. They're charging through. Will the ball beat them over the dead ball? And it does. Barrett doesn't get there. It would have been Australia 1, 2, 3 across the line. But the ball, like the lure at the greyhound races, got there first and trickled over the dead ball line.
Well, he's shown a very, very clever kicking game as Matthew Gidley. Every opportunity, he's cornered with the defence. He's putting the ball into space. He's a touch unlucky, you must say. The vision was good. The idea was great. He was just a yard away from being perfect execution.
Stuart Cummings was right on the spot too, the referee, showing up there on the replay. He was right there. He got there first. And the Russians back with the ball. And it has been a while, hasn't it, since they've had possession. Joel Rulis now.
That's 3. Stand up, stand up.
Over halfway, and only just.
Wait, Chris foot. Chris foot. That's good.
And have the Russians got anything in the tank to try? Well, Gavrillin will keep trying, the number 7. Croker got a good bounce, having turned around.
Okay, tackle 1.
Good on him for having a go, although some of the Russian forwards will be saying, well, mate, you could have waited to the last to give us a few more tackles in possession. Now they have to try and defend again.
Up, 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 up.
And it's the Aussies on the 40. Gower. And Hill has lost it. Never looked comfortable with that ball, and Joel Rulis is back with it.
Hey, Craig, leave in.
Very interesting. I mentioned the dummy half running, and that was the time that Gower jumped out. There wasn't much in front of him. It underlines what I said about Andrew Johns. I don't think that's where the space is against these Russians. Full credit to Craig Gower. Really must put his own hand up and try and force his way into the test lineup when it comes semi-final and final time. Would it be better to play the team game and let the forwards charge forward and shift the ball wide through these very creative centre-backs?
Lysenkov it was who played it, 25 metres out, and now Mitrofanov, they kick happy, the Russians, interference on the way through. Don't be surprised if they go for goal here. Mitrofanov straight up to his feet, chipping over the top well before the last. The interference was from Nathan Hindmarsh. Will they go for goal?
Will they ever?
Have the Russians got something special up their sleeve? Well, some magic set play, Tony.
No, they haven't. I had a look at Robert Ilyasov, the big centre. He came flying over to Stuart Cummings, pointed with both hands directly at the post. Ian Ruber didn't get a chance to decide. And we'll see the fullback, Mikhail Mitrofanov.
Unbelievable, isn't it? 80 points to 4. And the Russians, every point critical to their cause. They go for another 2 against the Aussies, the World Cup champions. To get it back to 80 points to 6 could be the start of the comeback.
I think he might be buying time as much as points.
Mitrofanov from 15 metres out. Well, it's a terrible attempt, to be honest.
Yeah, that would look more like a Beckham shot for goal. Got the inside of the boot. Way to the left. Never looked like going over. They get the ball back. One thing they have done is completed their sets of 6 reasonably well. They'll probably put the hex on them there, but with Ian Rubin with the ball, let's see what they can make of this one.
6.5 minutes remaining as Ian Rubin has driven sideways in the tackle there. Gordon Tallis, combatants they were in the grand final back at the end of August, the Olympic Stadium. Tallis on the winning side, the Broncos, and Rubin the defeated, the Roosters, but played that grand final with a fractured eye socket. Kulamine gets another run for the Russians. And again, Ian Rubin, captain of this Russian side, born in Odessa. I think Odessa you'll find is in the Ukraine, but don't hold me to that.
Isn't that great play for Ian Rubin, just to get that ball there and try so often. And they'll try anything, the Russians, and it's coming up for them.
Kucherov, another chip over the top. It's working for them. They stay on the attack. Ilyasov, he'll try and chip over the top. McDougall gets across for the Kangaroos. And now they are away and up over the 20. So 4 chips over the top in the last couple of minutes. Wendell Saylor.
Gee, it was good work from McDougall, the way he covered the ground, read it well, didn't panic, didn't assume. He knows it's unorthodox from the Russians. Don't expect just to bomb. Probably typical of what we'd see in the Australian game. He was aware that anything might happen. He was really on his toes, prepared to cover ground, and here's more opportunity.
Well, Kamali's pass was begging to be intercepted, and now Gedley put down by Croker. Play on for the Russians. Malari comes up with it. Andre got across quickly. Now Rulis. The Russians good on the turnover this time. Quickly to form and get on the attack. 14 is Kalich Keen. He's gone into dummy half, and that means that Lysenkov is able to play out wide. Play out in the centres at the moment. Artichu, 30 metres from the Australian line. They scored 1 try in the first half, the Russians, to Donovan. It was off a kick from the front rower Campbell. Gavriline throws the pass wide. Donovan's the man with it. But Gidley's there in defence, so too Saylor. And now over the sideline. No point the Russians appealing that it was off the Aussies. It was unintentional. The Australians will have the scrum feed.
The raw passion being showed by the Russians. It's make you think to yourself, if you ever were in that country at some point there was a game on, it'd be a very enjoyable experience to go and watch these play the game.
We had footage this year, Tony, actually on the footy show back in Australia of some of the Russian players. They play in snow, about a foot of snow. Here's McDougall. So this is a fast track for them tonight. McDougall back for Girdler. Here comes the record. Is it for Girdler? 10 metres away from the line. Girdler is there. He gets the record in Test match football. He's topped Matt Rogers' record from Wednesday night. Ryan Girdler has taken his tally to 36 points. Highest ever by an individual in Test football. And he's got a chance to add another 2 to it. 3 tries and 12 goals to Ryan Girdler.
Well, some people will say against the opposition, do you deserve a record? But when you watch the guy in action, Ryan Girdler, you can see what a superb player it is, and he can just do the best he possibly can. Go out there and play the opposition with all the ability he's got. We saw Mitrofanov a couple of times stop Gordon Tallis and a couple of other attacking raids from the Australians. At this stage with the class of Girdler, great positional play. McDougall was home for all money. The Russian chase was superb, and Girdler put himself in space. A little dummy just to offset Mitrofanov. He goes over and scores the try, sends him on to the record. And one player disappointed with that would be Matt Rogers. Not really disappointed, happy to see his teammate go well. We always like to hold the record. A great moment, historic moment in the game of rugby league in a historic year for Ryan Girdler.
And now to equal Australia's highest ever score in a Test match. The 86 points they scored against South Africa in 1995 is under the hammer. Ryan Girdler. Another 2. 38 points now for Ryan Girdler alone. And 86-4. 86-6 it was when they defeated South Africa at Gateshead 5 years ago. So it's a massive result. It was expected. But the Australians came here tonight chasing the improved performance on what they displayed against Fiji. And in the main, they've done that. And I know it sounds strange when a side is down by such a margin, but the Russians have had a go. They don't have the talent, they don't have the ability, let's face it, of the Australian players. They've got hearts, and they've really had a dig. So Ryan Girdler, 13 goals and 3 tries, 38 points. Who's to say that he's scoring Russia's finish for the night? Still time remaining in this one. A record-breaking year for him. Mitrofanov will go to sleep tonight watching Mitrofanov kick off. Kearns has dropped it from the kick-off. An error on their own goal line.
It's a funny make-up from the Australians. The setup here for that kick. Bobby Kearns was very shallow. He had to take that one because there was no one guarding the line. They put themselves under pressure. As a result, the error came. Wouldn't it be magic to see something from the Russians here?
Well, they've got a chance, haven't they? Ilyasov. Ilyasov. The kick goes through. And now the chance on Poker gets across. On Chelsea Dudinov. And another close call. Well, this 20-metre restart.
Sorry, Andrew. This is the sort of thing the Australians must be wary of. You cannot assume that the Russians are going to play the style of game that they're used to. Anything could happen. Kicking on the first from a scrum from the second player wide is not something you're familiar with defending against. Must prepare for the unorthodox. They handle it well, the Australians.
And Zudinov was the winger going through. Not far off scoring either. His wing teammate Donovan already scoring in the first half. Johns for Kennedy. Kennedy's away. The Newcastle back row, and now Barrett. He kicks early, looks a little strong off the boot. Sailor's getting through. It's over the dead ball line. Very early to kick Trent Barrett.
It was early to kick, but didn't Andrew Johns, who's just come on a scrum up, didn't he jump into action there? A little bit of zip as he went across the ruck and then fed these guys wide. Again, the idea was right from Barrett. Plenty of chasers. Unfortunately, the kick was a little bit long. I'm sure they're going to aim up with a great set in defence.
Now inside the final 10. Changes being made in the Russian side. Romanov is back out there. Ian Rubin's in possession. The captain is telling me that the Russian players, they go straight home tomorrow. The ones back to Moscow, that is. The rest of them get to stay for a few more days. With R&R, if you like, in the north of England. It'll be an unusual farewell of sorts tomorrow. Here's a tackle from Wendell Sailor. Like he was throwing out the garbage there. Big tackle.
He got a bit excited when he got the ball, Donovan. He had some space in front of him. The crowd roared. Wendell shut them up pretty quickly with an awesome tackle. It's not quite a 40-20. That one tried hard for it. It's just short.
Well, the London Broncos, are they in the market for a halfback? You might be looking at the Russian, Gavrilin, who gets this kick in. He plays for 2001.
We're going okay at scrum up. Every confidence in the guys we have there. I'm sure he'd do a job in the first division club over here.
So the Australians from the scrum. Hill, Gavrilin's there in defence, doesn't put him down. They're away again. Tallis stretches out. He's beaten 3, Gordon Tallis. Now the support lines up. The big front row is there. Kearns. It's play on for the Australians. They came off a Russian hand. And that is still play on 5 metres away. Good refereeing from Stuart Cummings.
Wasn't that great work from Scott Hill? This will create a try. Is it for Wendell Sailor? Ian Rubin's above him. He mightn't get there. Great defence from the Russians.
Good stuff from the Russians. They're all back on side. The try is still coming, though. Andrew Johns overrunning the ball is Hindmarsh, and Johns goes over. Andrew Johns with a 9 on his back, but he's moved into halfback, and there's the 90, and there is the highest ever score by the Australians in a test match.
It's a predictable thing to say, but he just does look so much more confident when he's playing in the first receiver role. Andrew Johns reads it so well. Beautiful dummy. Didn't put the outside guys under any pressure. Had a quick look. It's the worst habit I've ever seen in the centre. Maxim Romanov. Watch him in the 3, just come straight out of the line there. Just lets Andrew Johns have a look at a yawning hole. He's enjoying that as Andrew Johns always does out in the field. Must be great for Nathan Hindmarsh, such a young guy, playing with such experience, enjoying working with and friendship of this great Australian side.
This for 40 points for Ryan Girdler now, 15 away. He missed 2 in the first half back-to-back, but every other one has sailed right over the middle. No black dot here at Hull. It's unusual given their colours are black and white, but he's got it over the middle anyway, Ryan Girdler. And now I'm just going through the other records. Highest score ever by an Australian team in a match was that warm-up game against the New Zealand residents in Gosford recently, where they scored 108 points to 0. When we go back to a tour match back in 1953 in New Zealand, where they beat Northland 98-7. In those times, I guess tries were only worth 3 points. They were back in 53. That was a pretty fair effort. So can they break every single record tonight? Andrew Johns, a try there. Sporting the goatee, which is part of the team competition they've got over here. Wendell Sailor. There's goal line. There's a goose step from Wendell. Didn't have a great impact there on the tackle of Ian Rubin. Down the corner, over the head of McDougall. Tallis is able to pick it up. Tallis running freely. Then back to Kennedy. Kennedy's over the 40-metre line. And again it was Ian Rubin getting across. Committed performance from the Russian captain. Hill. Inside the Russian half. Gowers in a dummy half. They're looking tied on that left side defence, the Russians, and the Australians go that way with Barrett. Then back inside for Hindmarsh. Another try coming up. Hindmarsh unextended. He scores again, Nathan Hindmarsh. And now the 100, it's real close.
I just hope we can pick up a magic bit of play from the two halves here, because the last player to turn his back and get back in the defensive line was the hooker for Russia, Lysenkov. He's the guy in 9 who Barrett took on. Andrew Johns looked at him, ran at him, threw the ball to Barrett, who attracted him even wider to create this fantastic opening for Nathan Hindmarsh to go away. It was a real clever bit of rugby league prepared, but you can see that Johns had looked at the hooker, spoken to Barrett, and they went at him, pulled him wide. Hindmarsh dropped inside and went over for a fantastic try. Fantastic in the respect that it was so well planned. They spotted a weakness, they attacked it. That man in the foreground, Trent Barrett, instrumental in sucking the hooker over and putting Nathan Hindmarsh into space.
I say Girdler again, 14 from 16 for Ryan Girdler. We're on the verge of topping the century. 98 points it is to 4. For the Russians, they're on the board. I think we said at the time, Girdler has been announced as player of the match here. Very popular young man. But there's still time for more points. And the Russians, they're going for this slow march again back to half-time. The try for Nathan Hindmarsh. I mentioned Trent Barrett's family in the first half. I think the Hindmarshes are hail from Robertson, the Southern Highlands of New South Wales. Not sure they've made the trip over here, but still a proud occasion for them. Nathan playing his second test and scoring a few tries as well. Now with Tallis after the Russians tried another short kick-off.
Yeah, it was good play from Gower. Again, we've got to expect the unexpected from the Russians. And Gower did that, competed hard, dived on the ball. His side comes up with possession, and another greater opportunity to attack this Russian tiring defensive line.
And they get the 100, the Aussies. Australian viewers watching early morning there, just waking up. We're here for the final minutes now. It's been good entertainment here at the Boulevard. Johns, and then for Barrett, and now for Gidley. 30 metres away from the line. Sailor's already got a hat-trick. And back in field, 20 away from the line. Sailor, no thought of passing. Wendell Sailor! Sailor scores a try for Australia, and I think he's beaten every one of the Russians. There's a touch of Eric Grove about that. Wendell Sailor scores. A great way to bring up the century for the Kangaroos.
From the moment he gets this ball, there's no doubt in anybody's mind he's going to score a try. We thought it was going to be down the sideline, the right-hand line. He went looking for some space, beat Rubin, beat any number of them. He was so determined, so powerful in his running. A fantastic play from a great athlete. The forwards have done their work early. Good balanced ball from Gidley. Then watch this man fly. Power. Looking for space, looking for an opportunity. Creating an opportunity. Explodes through. A very special player.
102 points on the board. It's a dilapidated scoreboard, you would have to say, here at Hull. Seen plenty of years here at the Boulevard as Girdler lines up another kick. There it is, successful. Ryan Girdler, 16 goals now. And that old scoreboard you can see there. I'll say this, here we are at the Boulevard, the Hull, there's a rustic charm about it. Majeski Stadium, beauty, multi-million place we're at Thursday night at Reading. They couldn't get to 100. They only have 2 digits on the scoreboard. So, in some ways, the old-fashioned board is far better, Tony.
Touche to Hull. They knew it was coming. Not moving with the times. Wendell Sailor smiling in the background behind Trent Barrett.
Rare that 100 goes up in any sport for England over here, isn't it? Certainly not in cricket. Wendell Sailor back from his own goal line. Another run. Unstoppable at the moment. You're just about a pom anyway, Tony.
Oh, no.
Here's Tallis. Now Girdler. Girdler! It's a foot race. Kennedy's there in support. He picks out Johns. Johns now passes for Gidley. Champagne Rugby League it is indeed. And the Newcastle centre running away like they're doing sprint training here, the Australians. And now that has equalled their highest ever score in the green and gold, and Girdler will have a kick in front to settle the record for good. 108 points has equalled their best ever score in a match, and in a moment it'll be 110. Sit back and watch this action.
From the kickoff. The super team playing super well. Not resting in the last few minutes of the game. Plenty of support. The cries are forward from the crowd as those passes went inside. But the harsh balls, they might have been forward, but it doesn't matter sometimes when those opportunities are there. It's full time here.
Girdler managed the kick from in front. No surprise about that. And can you believe it? 110 points is being scored to 4. Highest ever score by the Australians in a rugby league match. And Ryan Girdler, the most points by an individual, player of the match. Let's run through those try scorers. Wendell Sailor 4, Girdler 3, Barrett, Croker and Hindmarsh 2 each. And Tallis, Fletcher, McDougall, Webke, Johns and Gidley all a try each. Girdler 17 goals from 19 attempts. But still a moment to remember. I'll certainly remember it, and all the fans here will, from the first half, when Matthew Donovan crossed for the Russians. He's the man in centre screen there, Matthew Donovan. Scored a try off the kick of the front rower Campbell. So plenty of entertainment here tonight in front of a pretty healthy and certainly very vocal whole crowd. The fireworks going off. But there's a good shot to finish with. As we say goodbye from the north of England, Australia will now go through to the quarterfinals. They have defeated Russia by 110 points to 4.
Yes.